Just imagine you're a young woman, 19 years old, a whole life ahead of yourself, coming from a prestigious family of success and attending a good university, when all of a sudden you decide to drop everything and pursue your dream of having a revolutionary healthcare company.
That was the action that Elizabeth Holmes took right before starting her company, Theranos. As we mentioned in the last episode, the connections she had, the image she created for herself, and the general timing of Theranos' creation were all factors that played a role in the initial success of Holmes' company when it comes to investors.
From this initial success, she was able to draw in investors such as Puppery Murdoch and Larry Ellison. And once she was able to draw them in, they were caught in her web of lies. Welcome to the second episode of the 11%. We're your hosts, Dig,
Irene,
and Kyle. Thanks for tuning in to the second episode of the 11%. Make sure to check out our website, the11percentpodcast.wordpress.com, or social media at the 11% podcast for more information and update on the podcast.
Before we get started, this episode is brought to you by the Fashion Podcast. Here's a little message from their team.
In a world where fashion takes center stage, there's one podcast that covers it all.
From the latest fashion trends.
Are there any fashion trend you wish to make a comeback?
Galaxy leggings, do you remember those?
I just don't get why would someone think it was nice.
Exclusive interviews.
You can kind of feel the weight of the fabric.
I'd rather wear the same outfit every day for a year.
Great choice.
To diving deeper into sustainability and exploitative labor issues.
Does this violate human rights?
It has a clear discrimination toward gender, so it is quite obvious it violates the human right.
Fashion Podcast sheds light on different aspects of the industry and explores all things technology in fashion.
Join us on a one-of-a-kind fashion journey with Fashion Podcast. Stay ahead of the trends, make informed choices, and be part of a community that shares your passion for style. Listen on www.fashionpodcast.wordpress.com and follow us on Instagram at Fashion Podcast. Stay fashion!
Be sure to check out their episode. Anyway, in the last episode, we didn't mention that Holmes dropped out of Stanford University to pursue Theranos. Even so, after dropping out of Stanford University, she pursued her vision of revolutionizing the healthcare industry by developing a device that could perform multiple blood tests, just using a small amount of blood from a finger prick.
Theranos ended up raising more than $700 million from investors, including from billionaires Rupert Murdoch and Larry Ellison, who valued the company at $9 billion.
After 5 years of Theranos' startup, Holmes announced that businessman Ramesh Balwani, also known as Sonny, will join as the chief operating officer and president. And in September of 2013, Theranos opened and announced their Walgreens partnership. It became available at 40 Walgreens locations.
And did you know that she actually later revealed that supposedly her fear of needles was what inspired her to create Theranos? But I say supposedly because honestly, knowing her true nature, it could have been just her way of trying to sound more relatable and therefore being more liked by the media.
The media also played a big role in her rise, with the company's aim to provide faster, cheaper, and more accessible blood testing, potentially transforming the way healthcare was delivered. Theranos gained significant attention and media coverage due to its ambitious claims and promises.
The first Theranos Wellness Center location opened in Walgreens in Palo Alto, and consumers were invited to try the Theranos blood test. Forbes named her the world's youngest self-made woman billionaire, worth $4.5 billion in September of 2014, when she was just 30 years old. Holmes and Balwani met in Beijing on a Stanford trip in 2002. Later, they were revealed to be in a romantic relationship, which was revealed by the media.
And these findings in Holmes' personal life, as well as Theranos' ambitious claims and promises, really added into her spread across the media.
However, with the media and its extensive amount of findings, also comes a lot of information that might be misleading or even incorrect.
Fact-checking is the main pillar of journalism, and it's the strongest one, because we are living in an age of information at our fingertips coming at us from all directions. And the only way that a person can try and discern fact from fiction is by doing research and looking at credible sources, and sometimes it's not just one, it's several others. And the whole idea of fact checking is hugely important. And I'm glad you asked that question first, because so much of what is important for information gathering for everyone is fact checking.
The voice you heard just now was Julia Foy. She's a faculty member of the BCIT Broadcasting and Online Journalism program, as well as a reporter.
As you've heard, she mentioned some ways that we can fact check the media, which would have been extremely helpful for most of the public at the time when Holmes grew quickly in popularity. However, she also mentioned that the media does have its reasons behind the information that could be misleading or even incorrect.
Licensed professional journalism organizations and broadcasters were held to a very high standard, and there's a lot of eyes on our work before it goes out. Some mistakes happen because we want to get it out there so fast. And sometimes people have been mistakenly identified who look like another person. I've seen that happen with police. The police put up a photo and say, this is our suspect. And I've actually interviewed someone who was in that situation, and they were not the correct person. So that's an example.
Yeah, so that's why we need to keep in mind that these companies are trying to push out this information as fast as they can, which is why we need to be mindful of how much this information is influencing our perceptions of others and cases like Elizabeth Holmes. And not only that, but also we have to be aware of the biases that are always present in media. In Holmes's case, the media caused people to be quickly influenced by her charisma and the perception of her as a female role model CEO.
So, why were investors and the public so easily influenced by the media and so quick to consider her as a successful young CEO? Why should we even care about it?
Tune into next week's episode of The 11% to find out more about that. Thank you for listening and for all the support so far. As always, be sure to check out our website, the11percentpodcast.wordpress.com, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at The 11% Podcast for more information and updates. See you next week.